Hi, this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. This year, this is entertainment for me. The sheer number of butterflies using the buddleia. Once the sun comes round, there's just loads, and we haven't got the full set yet. The peacocks, of which out here at the moment there are 1, 2, 3. I can see 4. I can see a red admiral, and I've just seen a comma fly round the back. So there's 3 different types on the buddleia, and 1, 2, 3, 4 peacocks I can see, and 1 each of the others. So yeah, there's butterflies around, and over on the perpetual wallflower, there's actually a meadow brown on the top there. You won't be able to see that from here, but there's enough actually to just go and sit outside and watch the butterflies. We're in for a bit of a heat wave, which I can do without, I must admit. Basically, my orchids are fundamentally cooler growers almost across the board. There are some that are intermediate and don't mind some heat, but there are some that just don't like the heat we've been having and we're about to get. You know, we're up in the 30s again, heading towards the weekend. Probably not quite as warm here, but I've got an Orchid Society meeting on Saturday, which means going inland, and I'll be able to see the thermometer going up a degree at a time as I head up the motorway. Anyway, what are we doing here? Well, I've been messing about with laptops this morning and getting very annoyed to the point of shouting, even though there's no point because nobody here who can actually hear me shout. But we need the facility, what used to be a Zoom facility that everybody used, as it was the forerunner and the one that was readily available. But they changed the goalposts, so they've lost an awful lot of their customers. Consequently, prices have gone up and they're losing even more customers. But we need to get some external speakers available via, well, you know, an online facility. And the guy who's doing the talk on Saturday, who's also joint chair, said, as he's got his laptop in, should we do a trial run of Zoom on Saturday, as we'll have 2 laptops that we can sit there and try and get to talk to each other. There's internet in the building. So all right, I'll get the Society's laptop out, you know, bring it all up to date and everything with the updates that will be outstanding. It hasn't been turned on for over a month. Get all that done, you know, make sure the battery's fully charged and everything. So I did all that, and then I spoke with the other chairman, Lynn, who you know, got her own channel, although doesn't seem to use it anymore. Probably too busy doing other things. But basically, I suggested we use Google Meet, which can allow us up to an hour free, and has virtually the same sort of facilities as Zoom has. I'd say probably a little less, but nothing. They haven't got anything that we need. You know, there's nothing missing that we would need. So I fired up the Society laptop, went into Google Meet, set up a meeting. And of course, it comes up with, because it's a security issue, do you want to be heard in the meeting? Yes. Do you want to allow permission to use your microphone? Yes. Do you want to be seen in the meeting? Yes. Do you want to allow permission to use your camera? Yes. No camera detected. Oh, what the naffing hell? nearly right, but you know, similar. And anyway, I tried all the diagnostics, the troubleshooting, everything under the flipping sun, but in devices there was no camera. It didn't exist. Now, I'm pretty sure when we bought that laptop, that would have been one of the criteria, that it had a webcam built in. Anyway, I thought, well, let's come at it from the other end. So on my laptop, I tried doing the same thing. I set up a meeting. Do you want to use the microphone? Yes. Permission? Yes. Do you want to use the camera? Yes. No camera detected. Now I know very well there's a perfectly adequate camera on my laptop. No sign of it. Can't be detected, can't be found, doesn't exist in devices. It's just gone. And I'm getting really annoyed now. Polite version. And do you think I could work out what the hell was going on? And then, you know, you do lots of searches to look on forums and, you know, see what Google can come back with on the problem. You restate the problem using different words to see if you can get some different answers. And inadvertently and indirectly, I found the answer. And it's Windows messing about again. So basically, both of the laptops are MSI laptops. And they have a brilliant security built in, as far as cameras are concerned, because cameras can be used for all sorts of hacking. You know, people can break in, use your camera to see what's going on in your house and around your room and what you're up to, and you know. So basically the security is based on the ability to completely shut down and to all intents and purposes remove the camera from the laptop, all via a function toggle switch. And what I think had happened is that Windows, in one of its updates, had tried to be clever and thought, oh, this laptop's got extra security to shut the camera down. I think I'll do that because it sounds like a good idea. So it looks like Windows turned the cameras off because nothing else could have done it. You know, there isn't any other types of updates that would be anywhere near those type of settings. So anyway, it's hold the function and press F6 and up pops the camera. Much to my annoyance because I'd wasted a lot of time on this. Anyway, you know, I got a meeting going on one and joined it on the other one and it all seems okay. And we'll see what we can do on Saturday. I will have to persuade external speakers that we don't use Zoom and that we use this instead, because we can't justify the cost. So that's the way it'll have to be. And it's not even a download. You use it through Google Chrome. So obviously Google Chrome has to be installed, but there's very few units that haven't got Google Chrome on them. And if they haven't, it's pretty easy to install that. And the only other thing that's necessary is a Google account. Well, if anybody's got a Gmail address, then they've already got a Google account. Or a YouTube channel, then they've got a Google account. I mean, I've got 3 or 4 lying around, so I'm okay. But yeah, I've sort of passed on all the information, so maybe we can have a go on Saturday. But then after all that faffing around, I got to the point where I thought, right, I'm going to have a flipping sit down, a quiet cup of coffee and, you know, just for half an hour to sort of get my head in order, really. And then I thought, what the hell am I going to film today? And then it dawned on me, it's the 8th. So this is, after a lot of waffling and faffing around, the start of everything in bloom, bud or spike on the 8th. And it's not going to take long. Really, it's not going to take long. I'm going to start tucked in here, because tucked in here is an Oncidium type that's got a lovely spike on it, and it's actually got a second one coming down near the base there. So that's got 2 nice spikes pushing on. It's not going to have a large number of blooms. I've got no tag on it, so I don't remember which one it is. I just can't remember. So we'll have to wait till it flowers, at which point, once I get flowers on an orchid, in my notes, next to the sort of sub-name, or hybrid, if that's what it is, I usually put a description of the flowers. So I can backtrack. Once we get some flowers, I can look at the description and then go and find the name and then do a tag. And then behind it, there's 2 spikes on the Prosthetia radiata highly fragrant blooms those are. They're not exactly extremely attractive orchid blooms, but gorgeous fragrance, or I think it is anyway. Ooh. Oh, my shoulder hurts today. Right, and somebody suggested, given this is going to go into the Orchid Society on Saturday, and I will need to get it ready, which I mentioned in the Sunday chat, I think. Somebody said, if you're going to get that ready for a show, well, it's not for a show, but it's a sort of show, would you film it? Because they'd be interested in seeing it. Well, I've done a few of those types of videos in the past, but I haven't done one for a while. It would at least be last year, I'd have thought. So yes, I'll film it. So basically it'll be getting this plant in a much more suitable state to go in and sit on the competition benches. But still haven't got a proper name. At first I thought, because of what it looks like, it was Dendrobium formidable, but it's not. Because every one of these blooms has got a very distinct ridge in the lip. You can see it rises up in the middle and dips down again. There's a ridge. And formidable, all of the images I found on the internet, none of them have got that ridge, so it's not that. So it goes back to just being Dendrobium hybrid. I would say it's got infundibulum or formosum in it, one or the other, possibly both with something else, but it's along those lines. It's too close to those blooms to be anything else. Right, so that's everything over here. We've got this funny looking, these are not going to open, these are going to fail on that Cymbidium, so you can look at them, but I don't think we're going to see any blooms on that. Something's gone very wrong with that, probably heat. And then over here at the lower levels we've got nothing except for our Masdevallia over here, which is looking good. I mean, it's just a hybrid, no ID. I came back with that from the NEC in Birmingham, I believe. And it's a nice healthy plant. It's got some good roots in the pot because I've dug it out of the pot and had a look. It'll get repotted once it's very used to the environment here. Now I could repot that while it's in bloom. I doubt if it would object. But I'm not in any rush. And at the moment with this heat, it's probably stressed anyway, so now wouldn't be a good time. It's probably better to just wait till we head towards autumn and it cools down again. But lovely blooms, typical shape Masdevallia, you know, because there are some odd shapes in amongst the Masdevallias. That's just a typical one. We do have a bud on one coelogeny, and that's up here. Now, I can't remember, first of all, I can't remember what the plant is. Let's dig the tag out and have a look. That is Hollow Chiller, or Hollow Killer, CH, whichever way. And I can't remember whether that has a single bloom or a set of blooms. The spike's only just started, so you know it's got a while to go before we get anywhere with that. There's nothing else down here. We've still got infundibulum up here. It's going to make my arm ache. But those blooms are effectively gone. You can see they've gone all papery, and the sepals are starting to fold back, leaving the petals and the lips, so that they're going to fall very, very soon. But it's in bloom. It's been in bloom for 3 or 4 months. Not necessarily those 2 blooms, because there were others before. It's been in bloom absolutely ages, and I like orchids like that. I quite happily have lots like that. Right, we've got our one little Paphiopedilum, little miniature. This is Appletonianum, I believe. Yeah, Appletonianum. And it's got another name as well, but I quite like that one. That's as I bought it, but it has got a synonym. It's a delicate little bloom, and it is just starting to go over. It's just starting to get floppy, because most Paphiopedilums are quite rigid, waxy type blooms. So this one's not going to be around much longer. And unfortunately, our Miltoniopsis vexillaria, the fan's got this spike as well. The fan took the other spike off and broke it, and it's done this one as well. I've tried to support it with another clip, but it's actually got a bend in it, so obviously the blooms are now not going to get any nutrition. They might last a little bit longer, but at least we've seen what the blooms are. Because it's not just the species, it's a named variety. So it's Vexillaria josephina. And the blooms are incredibly attractive. Very little, if any, fragrance. However, the one next to it, which is starting to go over, is quite fragrant. But it depends on the light level. And again, this one's starting to go. The blooms have been around a while. It's been a nice spike. Sort of spikes, actually, there's a pair of them, and it's looked okay, so have we got signs of new growths coming yet? I'd like to see some, I must admit. Yes, there's the new growth just starting. Now this one hasn't been repotted yet, so again, you don't stress out a Miltoniopsis by repotting it in hot weather. That is a very daft idea. They're very easily stressed at the best of times. So this hasn't got a name, it's no ID, but it's looked good over a reasonable period. It's stood up to the heat by not collapsing, and we've got a new growth coming. I don't know whether our Vexillaria, yeah, we've got a new growth on the Vexillaria as well, and we've actually got two. It looks like there's one the other side, so that will bulk up a bit with the next two growths. That hasn't been repotted since I got it, but it came from Burnham's as one of their seedlings that had been potted on, ready to sell. So it doesn't need repotting. It'll be fine in the pot it's in. So that can stay as is. And that's it. That's what we've got at the moment. There is one Phalaenopsis, which is an Equestrius cross, that's actually got a spike on. But it's out in the kitchen, and I don't know which one it is, and I can't be bothered. And there's nothing showing or anything, it's just a bit sticking out. So we won't bother with that one. We had a look at all the Phalaenopsis a short while ago, and it's in, the spike is in that video, so it's not like we haven't shown it before. This other little Miltoniopsis down here, which I thought I would have thrown that away by now, as it was going to totally fail. And it's called Dainty Lady, and it's the variety Cherry City, but it's actually a variety of a species. I forget which one it is. I think it's Phalaenopsis, but it's got a new growth. So it might actually catch. It's not doing very well in this heat, I must admit, but if it can get a new growth going and get some roots down, then it might perk up. And the other one that I'm very pleased with, there's no sign of any buds or anything yet, but look at the number of new growths on this plant, all round the outside and some in the middle are new growths. So this plant is virtually doubling in size. And I can't see any reason, given that it's a flowering size, blooming size plant already without these new growths, I can't see any reason why some of these new growths don't actually bloom. Because this hasn't bloomed for me yet. And I know other people that bought one from the same place at the same time as I did, and theirs are coming into theirs are on their second lot of blooms. And I haven't had any yet. But I've certainly got a lot of growth, so that should almost double the size of the plant, I should think. And it's good that Miltoniopsis, one of my favourite genus, is starting to seem to do okay. And if they can come out at the end of this heat and this summer then they should pick up and grow at a reasonable rate once we get some cooler weather. And hopefully, and if I see more, I will get more, because I now know that they stand a good chance of doing okay. Whereas round the other place, I used to sort of get another one because it looked really nice, knowing full well I'd be lucky to get 6 months and it would be dead. So it didn't work so well. So yeah, I'm spending a lot of time just watching the butterflies at the moment. There's just so many out there. And chances are in this garden at the moment, there are more butterflies than I had in the garden all last year. That was such a bad year. But out of the garden butterflies, which are comma, peacock, red admiral, which I've got, the other two are missing. And that's small tortoiseshell and painted lady. And neither have appeared in the garden this year. Now I know small tortoiseshells are doing really badly because the caterpillars are getting parasitized by a type of wasp that is now doing very well in this country because it's so much warmer. So they were okay, you know, until of the recent years with the heat waves and everything, and now they have a predator that's doing them in. The painted ladies they're migratory. They do survive our winter on occasions given the right circumstances, but the survival rate's not that high, but their stocks get replenished across the channel, so they come across from the continent, and given favourable conditions in some years they come across in huge numbers. Whether this will be one of those years, I don't know, but on some of the Facebook groups that I'm part of, people are starting to post an odd picture now and again of a painted lady, so they are starting to get about. Hopefully we get some in here. Anyway, there's your everything in bud on the 8th, and a look at some of the stuff that's going on in the garden. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.